Good evening, everybody. To start tonight's meeting, so welcome to Midsomer Town Council meeting, Monday the 2nd of February 2026. Start the agenda. Before I do, I'm just looking forward to a very positive and fruitful evening's meeting with some good discussion, debate and decisions. We did manage to finish this last week's meeting, or 2 weeks ago, within the time by 9 o'clock. I know there's a sort of, people don't like to extend unless we have to, so if we need to, we will, if the debates go on. If we don't have to, then we'll try to keep it to 9 o'clock finish. First item on the agenda, 151, apologies for absence.
Councillor Lucas.
Councillor Lucas and Councillor Wells. Yeah.
Yes, Councillor Wells gets apologies.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, good. Item 152, public session. In accordance with the standing orders, members of the public may make representations, answer questions, and give evidence at a meeting which they are entitled to attend in respect of the business on the agenda. The period of time designated for public participation at the meeting shall not exceed 20 minutes unless directed by the chair of the meeting. A member of the public shall not speak for more than 3 minutes. Do we have somebody else to speak? Yeah, John.
So we suspend standing orders.
So suspend, right. Yeah, so we do a proposal to suspend standing.
No, we don't need to do that. This isn't a public participation session.
We moved the public session into the actual agenda, so according to our previous local clerk, who's very clear in the matter, we have to suspend standing orders. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Do we not need to suspend standing orders? We have a clerk rule on it. A member of the public is speaking.
Why would we? It's public participation.
Public participation. So no, the clerk's rule is we don't need to suspend standing orders. Thank you, Councillor Mackay. John, sorry, would you like to speak?
Good evening, councillors. My name's John Durant. I'm one of the key volunteers on the Community Trust. I must point out I'm speaking personally and not as a representation of the Community Trust. I'm here to speak to the council about seriously reconsidering their decision not to provide the Community Trust, as I understand, a grant for this coming year. You'll be aware that in 2011, the council has recognised that community buildings needed a strong programme of events and activities to survive. That fact remains today. 2013, the council funded a trust and a full-time manager. For 12 years, the trust has worked consistently and hard to put on a wide range of popular events, notably Christmas Light Switch On, Wassailing, Summer Fair, Music Festival, monthly social for senior citizens, community cinema and monthly socials at St John's Church. The Community Trust was also instrumental in returning the carnival to the town centre in 2015 and continues to work hand in hand with the Carnival Association. The Community Trust is the key tenant of the Town Hall, as it did stand. The benefits of these events put on by the Community Trust are a stronger sense of community at a time when other social gatherings, church, sports clubs, social clubs and the rest are on the decline. Makes Midsomer Norton feel like a more private, vibrant place to live and work. Calendar events are essentially free of charge, and that's especially important to low-income families. There's also opportunities for social inclusion, especially for senior citizens at the monthly social who face social isolation. These events are also an opportunity for local charities to raise their profile and generate income. These events also bring footfall in the Midsomer Norton Town Centre. 8,000 people estimate for Carnival, Light Switch On somewhere around 1,000 people, and cinema was 5,000 visits a year. The prolonged closure of the town halls meant that there is no revenue from popular activities like the cinema for 3.5 years, making the trust more reliant on grant applications. No matter who runs these types of events, the fixed costs are the same. Event licence, £500, first aid cover, £1,000, security, £2,000, staging, about £1,500. I understand that the application has been application for 25,000 has been turned down, and then the events is planned to run on a hybrid model. £25,000 equates to £1.78 for each person living in Midsomer Norton for a calendar of 3 events. The trust only has one member of paid staff, that's the manager, the rest of it volunteers. By virtue, this makes the council trust one of the most cost-effective options. Volunteers are extremely hard to recruit. Given these circumstances, the current volunteers, of which are one, and I've spoken to others, are not prepared to directly volunteer for the town council. Essentially, it's the volunteers that make these events happen, not our own trustees. Without volunteers, there is no hybrid model. The refusal of the grant will mean that the trust is no longer able to employ its own manager, and the manager is responsible for booking the bookings of events, writing an event and submit plans, licenses, permits, resources, infrastructure, organising charities, organising first aid, organising volunteers. Without a community trust manager, these events won't happen, and effectively Midsomer Norton Community Trust will become a trusted name only. I know from personal experience how demanding it is to organise these events and the effect it has on my own mental health. Our councillors have already got commitments on other committees, really going to put in the hundreds of hours needed to organise events. Who amongst you is willing to stand on these committees? Where are your volunteers coming from? I repeat, volunteers like myself will not be volunteering for the town council. In reality, it will take you months, years to set up an events committee, then you'll only recreate what you already have in the council trust. It's unlikely, without all the volunteers and an events manager, you'll be able to put on a full calendar of events, plus things like getting the community cinema up and running. In reality, you'll be having to use a company that makes a profit, and therefore you'll get less entertainment and value for your money. You would have lost the key tenant of the town hall by the fact that you won't be able to put events on because no one's planning these events. And the end result is people in Midsomer Norton will be deprived of free events that they support, love, and bring them together as a community. But people would expect after the delayed renovation of Town Hall, it will open with a full calendar of events. And only Midsomer Norton Community Trust can currently deliver this in April, or when it happens, and only with a full-time manager. I therefore urge Midsomer Norton Town Council to urgently reconsider their decision not to grant the Community Trust the £25,000 so that we can retain our trust manager and in order to provide a full calendar of events for 2026.
Thank you for your
I'm ready to submit that if anybody wants it.
Yeah,
thank
I'd
you.
like that.
Well done, John.
It's, on record, John. We've
Yeah,
taken note of
definitely.
that. Thank you very much.
Well said, John.
Contribution.
Thank you for coming. It's actually nice to have a community trust person come and chat to us.
You're welcome.
Well, if you heard the things they normally say about the community trust, it's not very nice.
That's
Thank-
not absolutely
Thank you. No,
accurate.
thank you.
Sorry, that's not a particularly
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
helpful
That session, unless anybody else wants to speak, then the public session is finished. Thank you very much, John, for coming. And I'm sure we'll take into account your comments. We're moving on to item 153, declarations of interest. Members declare interest in closing of peculiar interest they may have in agenda items that follow. Does anybody wish to declare any interest?
Yes, as a member of Midsomer Norton Town Council, which is sole trustee of the Recreational Trust, I have to declare an interest.
Okay.
We all have to declare an interest publicly and grant ourselves a dispensation.
Thank you.
So, can I have a dispensation?
The clerk. Something we need to do.
The guidance that I have is different, that if you're acting as sole trustees in this meeting, you don't need to declare an interest, but
We're not acting as sole trustee in this meeting.
if you want to belt and braces and declare an interest, please do.
Well, I'm declaring an interest. Can I have a dispensation?
Okay, right, so we Councillor Scott.
Given there is still some confusion that hasn't really been clarified on this in terms of sort of the way some councils look at this, could I suggest that the council grants dispensation to all those who are part of the Recreation Trust, which is all of us as sole trustees, and also all of us who are sole trustees of the Town Trust as well, because I gather there's an item of that coming up, that we as a Town Council agree to grant all councillors a dispensation for those items. That's my proposal.
Thank you. That's proposed. Second.
I'll go with that.
Linda's seconding. All in favour of granting the dispensation, so everybody can speak. That's is that all this?
I don't believe we need to discuss it.
No, we
So
proposed, so we just turned to clear up, so we cover the bases. Thank you very much.
Was that 5, 6?
Yes.
At the annual meeting, we will do a blanket dispensation for the year, which I understood had been done previously, but I can't find the paperwork to back that up.
Okay.
So if we do one at the beginning of the civic year for that, will be covered in future.
Great. Okay, thank you. Move on to item 154 to approve and sign the correct record of the minutes of the previous full council meeting. So, somebody wants to comment or somebody wants to propose the
I'm just going to put that there
minutes?
because I'm going to get
Yeah,
bothered
okay.
up with things like that.
I'll propose.
Right. So, Councillor Gregory's proposing, Councillor Thornton is seconding. Everyone in favour of accepting the minutes to record? That's carried unanimously.
You sign them at the end.
Yeah, thank you. Item 155, refer of minutes to note the draft minutes and approve any recommendations arising from the committees shown. Have we got a copy of the planning committee?
I didn't print off a
No.
copy.
I think it's one I have.
They're not
Have you
going
got
to
one?
pack.
Well, it's not attached to that, is it? It's separate. So I could close that note on this one.
No.
Is that? Yes. Oh, I've got one. So, do we need to
Because they're just noted.
just note there's no decisions that
Yeah,
we need
there's no
to...
recommendation.
No.
Right, so that's noted. So there we go. Item 156, financial updates. Updates to the financial queries raised at the last meeting. Is that this piece of paper here? Yeah. Queries raised at the previous meeting regarding discrepancies between figures shown on the budget spreadsheet and those recorded in Realtus, and the following clarifications were provided. I won't read through those, you'll have them in front of you. Does anybody have any questions about that? Or?
No.
I just want to say thank you for the explanation.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Clerk, for the explanation. So that's the one. Item B is the updated figures for the town hall reversion to include the amended retention figure. Right, so that's anybody. No, that's right. I'm just updating figures on that. Item C is the updated budget summary sheet for January 2026.
I wanted to say that was really nice and clear. Thank you. This
Thank you, Mandy. Councillor Scott.
Yeah, obviously, as I've probably been one of the people who's been most vocal about ensuring that we get an end of year reserves figure in order to carry through. Just like to say thank you very much for all the work that the RFO has put into this, and that we now have a figure of 116,000 in terms of reserves, and a predicted expenditure for the year of 1.422 million. I did speak to the RFO just before the meeting, because when we go on to consider item 160, you'll notice in the first column the projected expenditure for this year is actually different at 1.513, and that is simply because these here are the figures. That's the previous historic old spreadsheet, which while the budget for 26-27 is okay, the figures haven't been updated. So basically, I'm very, very happy and would like to, say thank you very much to Kate for all the work she's put in to clarify this.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you, Kate.
Good. On to item 157, the approval of the Town Trust account As a sole trustee of the town trust, the council is recommended to approve the appointment of John Henry as the independent examiner and signing the town trust end of year accounts. So, sorry, close this one down. So, is that the engagement letter there? Yeah.
It's quite explicit of what he's doing, isn't it?
Yeah. So we need
And he's also the council internal.
Yeah.
Although he would.
yeah. So we need somebody to propose.
So can I just
Yeah. Sorry, Councillor.
what happened? Or am I misunderstanding this? We gave the town trust a £20,000 grants before Christmas, and I believe there was a £4,000 water bill. But I can't see any of that on here.
No,
Have I misunderstood?
no, because these are the accounts, these are late. These are the accounts of 24 to 25. They're from February 24 to January.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
25.
Oh, wow.
Okay, like-
So we're a year late on these.
You were a year late.
All right.
Right, thank you for asking that question because I hadn't picked that up. Yeah.
So we need to propose
Propose,
approval of.
and then I'll sign it at the end.
Yeah. So Councillor Robertson is proposing.
After.
Councillor Scott is seconding. All in favour? Accepting the accounts. That's
Approving the
We're approving the
appointment,
appointment.
John Henry.
Yeah.
And you're approving the account.
Doing both. Yeah. Okay, what's happening with those two things? Yeah. So I'm going to sign both those.
Sign them at the end. There's lots
Yeah.
to sign on the phone today.
That's right. Then we're on to item 158, the section 105 agreement between Midsomer Norton Recreation Trust and Midsomer Norton Town Council to note the decision regarding the management agreement between the Midsomer Norton Ground Trust, Recreation Ground Trust and the Midsomer Norton Town Council as agreed by the sole trustees on the 2nd of February. That's just a note. Then item 159 is the allocation of earmark reserves to consider allocating £3,625 from SIL, £55,566 from SIL towards the town hall.
It was 37, not 300, and what you just said.
37,625 and 55,566 towards the town refurbishment, plus transfer 105,000 from general reserves into separate earmark reserves to cover the shortfall. So Councillor Scott is proposing. Councillor Mackay is seconded. All in favour? That's everybody again. And then item 160 is to consider the budget for 2026-27 and approve and consider and approve the budget and approve the precept submission to Baines.
This is where I might lose you, Tara, because I'm just bringing up the spreadsheet. I think you can still hear us, can't you? I'm just bringing up. Take the glasses off so I can see. Might help. Oh yeah, you're still in the corner.
So I don't think there are any changes made since the last time we met 2 weeks ago, apart from I think there were two sort of recommendations from the clerk. One about the town, the civic ceremony in the
What page is that?
in April or May. So that's item. Don't know if you help me
What
out.
page is it?
Well, what it is. Civic award. Civic service.
Oh, I see civic
Was that
support is on page 4. Is that what we're doing?
I think it's that one. Is that one civic service there? There was 1,500.
Yeah.
And
Code,
then,
code number 4231.
4231.
yeah, which was.
Here we go. Ah, 4231.
Yeah. So we've got 1,500 as the amounts for this year.
Can you say what page it is?
Page, I'm just
6.
trying- page 6. Down the fourth line up from the bottom on page 6.
We
I
reduced
see
it to 500 at the last meeting, proposal is to put
Put
it
it
back
to
up to
£1,000.
£1,000,
Okay.
and I think, which I agree with, because of we would hope to be, the intention is that we're in the town hall, so we have the service at the town hall, so we welcome people to the town hall, maybe the first proper meeting we have in there, and that as a result of all the changes, numerous changes that are happening in the council in terms of taking on assets, such as the Orchard Hall, Town Hall, changes to the management of assets or the responsibility of assets. For example, with some of that we discovered, sort of moving out of the picture and just taking on responsibility for green spaces a bit more, and just the general and the events and all that sort of developments and changes, and the precept change, which is having to take account of extra cost on bays in terms of elections, Christmas lights and things like that. I think that there would be a forum to discuss and to, there are a lot of changes that people might want to come and question, or that we might want to mention about towards the start of the new financial year. But I think mainly it was the fact that the town hall would hopefully be open. We need to spend a little bit more money, or we've got to have that money in the pot to spend on an event of that nature. So I don't know if people agree with putting it back up to £1,000.
Yes, I think there's the awards, the civic awards.
Yes.
So, and that costs. If we can have it in the town hall, that's great. So you want to?
It did cost more than the £5 million.
It did, yeah, it was to 700 last year.
Yeah.
So I've just changed it to 1,000.
Is that okay?
Yeah. How confident do we feel for having the town hall back in May?
No, we're all confident.
I'm glad somebody is.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing was to do with it was a website, wasn't it? That the clerk office felt that I think it was moved. It was what we're asking for originally. 6,000, and it was reduced down to a few hundred, wasn't it?
500.
500.
That's on page, third line up on page 3.
Third line on page 3. Yeah, there we go. So there was a figure of £1,000 was being asked for, moved up to £1,000. So £500 wouldn't cover very much, but £1,000 is a amount that they felt they could do something with rather than £500.
So who felt
this is Tara and the
based
office
on
staff, based on what they feel work they could do. They felt they wanted £1,000 rather.
Can you ask the clerk to?
Yeah, the clerk is still
online.
online.
It's online.
Tara, would you like to speak on the increase in the website?
Yeah, I think it was originally put forward as 12,000, and then it was dropped to 6,000, and then to 500. It just feels this is our opportunity to ensure there is enough money to do it. I think £1,000 would be more realistic. It doesn't mean we're going to spend £1,000, but it just gives us some leeway again with all the assets that we're taking on to make sure that we can properly showcase those on the website. I'm actually hopeful that we don't need to spend very much at all, but it would be good to just have that buffer to know that if we needed it, it was there.
Sorry, could we clarify? We were talking about a new website.
Yes.
Are we now talking about purely maintaining the existing website?
I think so, yes, is it? Making changes to the current website, which rather than a new website.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do a new website, so it's just trying to update and upgrade the one that we have. We should be able to do something with £1,000. Hopefully less. It's our intention always to do things for as little as possible, but it's our opportunity to make sure we've got enough budget to do it properly. We might want to link a booking system, for example.
Yeah. Mandy?
I'm going to go on to another question.
So do you want me to change it to 1,000?
I don't know, it doesn't seem to be.
I'm sorry.
Are we dealing with each one separately?
Well, those are the two changes that have been identified by staff.
Right, so then if there are going to be any other proposals for changes,
Yes,
are we
we
going
can
to
do those
just
after.
talk at each, well, are we going to talk each of them through and then take a vote on all of them, or are we going to vote individually? I'm just worried that by voting for one, if we then get a proposal later on and we have to make a choice, we've already proved, we've already made the decision. I don't know how you and the clerk thought it best to.
How
I
we
don't
should
know,
proceed.
are there any other proposals for changes to the budget?
Possibly, I've got a question.
Well, Mandy's got a question. Let's let Mandy ask the question. Yeah.
So, given that we've had, when we had our meeting last time, we didn't have anything in for the community trust because we didn't know whether we were going to do this community events thing, the hybrid arrangement. So the community trust bit of budget was removed. So have we got any more budget to go in for its replacement, or if we keep it the same, have we got budget items for that?
No.
We've got the money for the events.
Yeah.
It's for the event. It's not allocated to the community
So
trust.
who's going to do it? But
Well,
we've
that's what
got
we
money
voted
for
on
the
last,
event.
yes.
And yeah, so can you remind me how much money we've put on one side for the events, please?
We have different amounts for different events. It's on.
And in total?
20, 24, 34,
Okay,
34.
yeah, that's fine. I don't need to ask any more then.
34,000 that is.
All right. Are there any more proposals for amendments to the budget? Do we have any to this?
I would amend the entire budget, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to believe that the council is even contemplating putting £127,000 onto the precept, biggest rise in history, which follows a big rise, which follows another big rise. These are numbers that are hard to believe. These are decisions the council have made by taking over events and pushing out the community trust. From running buildings to the council has taken over extra liability. They've disempowered residents and they've taken on this extra risk, and now the residents are going to pay the burden through a huge precept increase. We've had several town hall business plans put forward. A good one, which was adopted by the council, another one which we paid for, and yet I still haven't heard anything from the council about what they wish to do with the town hall when it opens, except we have this one line in the budget which has an expected income of £10,000, which is less than the Orchard Hall. So when we're presenting this budget to the public, and I have to speak to a resident, and they say, how much did the town hall cost? I said, well, about £2.5 million altogether. How much is it going to bring in? 10,000 is our best estimate. Oh, we didn't have enough time to do a budget for the town hall, but it's overdue by 3 years, so it's just not good enough. So I don't think we can accept such a large rise. I think some of these figures have to be lowered, and we need a little bit of common sense. If the town hall isn't expected to bring in any money, then we need to find out why. We shouldn't be massively increasing central services budget whilst cutting things like community grants by 50%. So if there's any vote on the precept, it should be a name vote, and I can't possibly support such a large increase. Thank you.
I mean, there will be, but we need to vote tonight, I think. Councillor Taylor.
I just note that you're part of our council and valued and that, so I'm sad that you haven't done this when it was all being made rather than now when it's all made.
I beg your pardon.
Why we're where we are. Since the asset transfers, there's been years of neglect within those asset transfers. There's been a lack of any financial planning, maintenance plans or agreements. So we now have an orchard hall, we have a solar centre, a town hall, a nature reserve. With all these things that through neglect and lack of financial planning from the previous administration, we're now where we are. We've got to ring fence £500,000 for the liabilities on that town hall. We've got to find £30,000 to fix a solar centre, £30,000 to fix the orchard hall, £30,000 to deal with the issues of the nature reserve and the trees that are dangerous. So I think you can add that up quite quickly and see why we're in the position we're in financially. We are in a very difficult position financially, We have included in the budget to continue events. All the events are funded within this budget. The carnival is funded to the same amount as last year in this budget. So we are balancing books here, but we are where we are, and I'm afraid we've inherited this from a previous administration.
Point of order. That's not fair. You can't sit and criticise the previous administration without.
I can give you the numbers if you like.
I've made a comment, and that's what we can move on to the
right.
next comment.
I can provide evidence and numbers if that helps you, Gordon.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Scott.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Thank you, Councillor Mackay. We know, and I think it's at many meetings, you have both presented alternative sides of the coin, okay? And you have done so again tonight before we set the budget. I don't know if any of you received the NALC newsletter today. The NALC newsletter gave about 10 case studies, 5 of which are councils in our area, in Somerset, up to Gloucestershire and down, of councils that have taken on assets and they've been regarded as successful devolution examples. We've never officially gone through a devolution with Baines because Baines have never officially put forward devolution as such. But in essence, the whole business of the asset transfers to Midsomer Norton Town Council so many years ago is essentially exactly the same process as the devolution that's happened in all these councils. Now, all these councils, they gave details of how much they had increased their precept in order to run those assets, including the population of that particular town. And all those examples had a population of, say, 10,000 to 12,000, which is very similar to where Midsomer Norton is, and their budgets and their precepts were over £1 million to take on those assets. I think there needs to be, as Sean has already said, we have two options. We can shut the Orchard Hall, we can shut the Stone Centre and not incur these amounts of money that it will take to make sure that they can continue operating. Or we can actually put a budget together that is realistic. We've tried to allow as much as we can to ensure that all the events still go ahead. We've already voted for a hybrid model that will enable the Community Trust to receive funding, coordinate its volunteers. That's the whole point of the hybrid model, but it will have the umbrella of the Town Council to give it more of financial security, and it will also enable us to reclaim the VAT, which the Community Trust couldn't do. And when you take everything, plus the fact that Baines will no longer pay for our elections, so we've had to now budget for that, for the elections in 2 years' time, and that Baines will no longer support the Christmas tree, Christmas lights, which they used to do for the town parish councils in the area, and so there is quite a considerable cost for that we need to consider how to redo that. I think, quite frankly, between us all, and especially with the RFO as well, who's had to juggle all these figures together, we have probably got the best budget that we can, unless you want to completely upend it and start from scratch again. We can't afford to do that. We have a decision to make. These discussions have been going on now for 2 months. And I feel that whilst it is, I'm sure most of us feel very regrettable about it, but at the same time, we have to balance different things for different people. And I think that this is probably the best that we can do. We don't know, as Sean has said, we've got to put aside 500,000 to mitigate liabilities. It might not come to that. It might be that we can then revisit and rebudget in 6 months' time. But until we know what our actual liabilities will be, we have to make those provisions.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. So unless there's any...
Could I just ask one question, not related to, and thank you, Cheryl, that was very clear. I can't see anything for general reserves. We've now moved some of the general reserve into this earmark reserve. Is there another line? Because I've heard people say that they were very anxious about general reserves, and I can't find anything in these papers.
It was removed. You decided to remove that figure at the last meeting a couple of weeks ago. So there is nothing going in to prop up your general
So we
reserves
have
for next year.
very little, if anything, in our
No, we do have the amount in there, yeah. We're not down to, yeah, we've got a considerable amount.
We're not likely to go bankrupt.
No.
So we started off 2 months ago with a potential estimate of only 19,000 in general reserves, and that's where the figures were coming from to prop up general reserves. That's why we've spent a considerable amount of time going through the figures, and we now have, as detailed tonight, at the end of this year, we've now checked all the figures, and there will be 116,000 in reserves. And that's a lot different from the 19,000 we started off with.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've actually got a much more comfortable cushion. There's no need to put what was previously something like 150,000 into reserves or something, which was the previous figure.
So everybody feels comfortable. I just needed to ask that question. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation.
So unless there's any other changes to the budget.
No, I just need to come back on a couple of things. One thing is Midsomer Norton was ahead of the game when it came to devolution, because it set up the community structure to allow the assets and the events to be run by the community and for the community. That has been an active and deliberate change by the council to move away from that strategy, which is very, very expensive. And when we talk about general costs just being too high, most of these costs are going into central services. That's £156,000 extra for central services, with cuts to other parts of the budget, and a huge increase in the staff burden. And unlike capital repairs, staff budgets only increase. So that's why this council is going to spend more money. These are deliberate choices.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor. Clark, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I think it's just worth noting that the general reserves that we have at the moment do stand at less than the recommended 3 months minimum of 3 months of running costs, which should be in the region of 155, I think, was the last count. But we've erred on the side of caution with income, and we do hope that that will work in our favour through the year, and then we will realise that the general reserves can be brought up through the course of the year to a figure closer to 3 months of the running costs. Just wanted to make sure that everyone was really clear and aware of that.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So thank you. We're going to move towards the vote. The only thing...
Sorry, I don't think you can shut down debate with something as important as this.
Everybody's spoken.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's important that we if there's an issue on the table, let's discuss it and understand why we are where we are. Because, you know, it is a difficult budget, but I don't see where the cuts we make. The community trust have decided they can no longer run the buildings. So we either shut them down or we take over and run them, which is going to require extra staff, which is why there's extra staff in the budget. The alternative is if we shut down the solar centre and we shut down the Orchard Hall, both which play a huge part in the community. Age UK regularly, on a weekly basis, feed old people.
This isn't relevant.
It's not relevant that we're looking after elderly people that are socially isolated.
Nobody's talking about stopping that, and you're going off piece deliberately to frame the argument to suit yourself.
Can I finish?
Well, I think if you finish, but we're just talking about how...
I'm trying to explain that the budget, with the budget, we're trying to save, effectively, the solar centre and the Orchard Hall. The alternative would be to close them.
Okay, that's not true. You're saying that, but that's not the council's view.
So explain how you're going to explain your budget to me then. You want to cut what, £127,000 from the budget and continue to run the community centres. So can you explain to me how you're going to do that?
Well, I think Councillor Mackay's point was that we take on the burden of doing it, and that was all. He didn't feel that.
Well, what's the alternative? I'd like to hear what the alternative is.
Well, there isn't one. Perhaps.
Well, there's always an alternative. If God's saying that this budget isn't fit for purpose, I'm open to suggestions. If you can find another way of doing this, then explain it to us. If you can find a way to keep all of those community centres operational and functional for the elderly people at Orchard Hall or the young people that use the solar centre, then explain it to us. We'll build that into a budget, and we'll cut the budget by 127,000 and keep all these facilities open.
Councillor,
I'd go right back to the model we had previously. I'd make a full and frank offer to the Community Trust to come back into the buildings, save the council £127,000 and have community buildings run by the community, for the community, and lower the precept at the same time. The plan worked before, and it's this council that's changed direction, and it's the residents that are going to have to pay.
Yeah, you asked Councillor McCarthy's...
Yeah, but sorry, but the problem is the model didn't work, which is why we're in this position, because the buildings have been neglected for a decade, which is why we've now got to find £30,000 to repair them, because the Community Trust, whatever their best endeavours were, didn't have the funds to manage the maintenance and repair of the buildings.
The problem with that is we're now spending a whole bunch of money running the buildings, and the repairs had to be done anyway. So instead of having the money to actually invest in the buildings, we're spending extra money running them where we actually had a system in place that could run them really, really effectively. So we're costing double and we're not saving any money.
Where's that in the budget? Where's the running costs? Isn't it? The operational costs are coming from the revenue they generate. What's in the budget is the repair to bring them back up to the standard they need to be to avoid closure. That's what's in the budget, is repairing the buildings and bringing them back to the level they need to be on.
No, it's not. £90,000 is for additional staff resource to run the buildings, something that used to be done much, much more effectively by community organisations.
I think we're deliberately trying to find issues there. The extra staff level isn't purely to run the buildings. But they do need to be managed correctly, you're correct.
Thank you. I don't think there's anybody else who wants to make any, because we've discussed the budget several meetings. And
So I'm just going to go back. Did you want me to change the website figure?
do we want to change the website figure in line with the clerk's recommendation, Councillor Scott?
I am therefore going to propose that we move to a vote on approving the budget with the two amendments that have been suggested on the website and the civic service.
So before you get the right keys, with those two amendments, it takes us up to 741,000. Sorry, so that again. £741,004, and it's an increase of 20.7%.
Yeah. Okay. I think Councillor Taylor's going to second the motion. Right, so we'll take a vote.
I'd like to call it to be a named vote, please.
Yeah, name vote. So all in favour of that?
Oh no, sorry. So
Scott proposing.
Cheryl one
and Mandy second.
20.7%. Mandy 2. That's my notes. Okay.
Yeah. Could I just ask, you said 741?
We're not voting on the precept yet. We're
Right,
voting
okay,
on
I just
the budget.
needed to, a statement was made by Kate a minute ago, I was just trying to clarify. Going up to 704.
£741,004. You've put an extra £1,000.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Kate.
So we've got a proposal and a second. So all in favour of?
I'd like to propose an amendment. The community grant budget is doubled from 10,000 to 20,000, which it used to be, and that £10,000 is taken out of the staffing budget.
Right. Do we have a seconder that motion? No.
Hold on, sorry, just bear with me. I need to write this down. Sorry, sorry about that. Was it seconded? No. Okay, thank you.
So back to the original motion. So all in favour of the original motion to accept the budget as mentioned. So that's.
Hold on, just keep your hands up, please. That's
it's all of us.
all.
You're right, wasn't it? All. So it's all of it, apart from Councillor Mackay.
Apart from.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it needs to be named.
Yeah. budget.
Now we need to approve the increase.
We need to move this precept, which is 741,000.
So proposal on precept, so Councillor Scott is proposing precept. Seconder, Councillor Thornton, seconded. All in favour of the precept? Everybody again, apart from Councillor Ty.
Was that also a named vote?
No.
No.
Just need to name.
Precept's slightly different.
We need to sign, as long as Tara's obviously not here, we can sign it as a chair part. Get you to sign it. I'll just get you to sign it and I'll fill it in tomorrow.
Reach that.
Thank you, everybody.
Councillor Scott.
Can I just propose a vote of thanks to everybody who's contributed to this, and that includes everybody around the table, and especially the staff. There's been a lot of work that's gone into this, and it has been very much complicated by the town hall and that ongoing project. So I'd just like to propose a vote of thanks to everybody who's been involved, but particularly the RFO and the town clerk.
Thank you.
Can I second
Scott.
that?
Scott is seconding that. It's second. Yeah. Thank you.
Let me just take that back down, take that down.
Back to the original thing.
I think,
So we're moving on now
I
we
can
to
right, Tara's big.
so on to item 161
Yeah.
now, yeah.
161,
The
yes.
pension strategy, to note the new pension administration strategy is here. So the pensions administration strategy to Tom Twister sets out how the Avon Pension Fund and all participant employers will work together to deliver accurate, timely and efficient administration of the local government pension scheme. Explains what is expected from both sides and how performance will be monitored. The pensions administration strategy is reviewed every 3 years. And then there's the sort of justification, explanation of it that follows. Is everybody happy?
I have been through it and we are doing as they ask.
You're happy with all of this?
Yeah.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay, fantastic, good. So we move to item 162. Neighbourhood plan. Following the planning committee held on the 15th of December to consider the recommendation to obtain quotes for a consultant to guide the neighbourhood plan application process. Yes, Councillor Scott.
I'd actually like to speak against this at this current time. The reason being is that your neighbourhood plan will need to be updated in line with the local plan, and the local plan is currently under consultation. And I feel that to actually employ a consultant now is a little bit too early in the process. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, I'm just saying that now is not the right time to start employing consultants and to be told, well actually, even if we do put some planning policies together and everything, and we put it through to referendum and everything, you're only going to have to repeat the process when the local plan is finalised. So I just feel that we could better use the time to start building up. I mean, obviously we've just set a budget that is actually going to be quite controversial, and I think that it will be a little bit precipitous to move towards consultancy at this point in time, when we could perhaps utilise some more community engagement activities first, because our demographics have changed since the previous engagement was done. We've obviously got the possible housing developments and whatever. We really, I feel, need to go back out to the community and ask them what they think now. I'm not saying we shouldn't. We've set money in the budget now. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm saying that to do it now, I think, will be a little bit too early.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Scott, Councillor Hughes.
I disagree for several reasons. I mean, first of all, we don't have a 5-year plan supplying veins anymore. So regardless of the local plan designating where they do and don't want houses to build, the applications are coming in thick and fast, because developers know veins can't stop them because they don't have a 5-year land supply. So all those areas that are shown in the local plan, half of them have already got developers planning to put in applications now. They're not waiting for the local plan. Their applications are going to come in thick and fast. And if we don't get a plan in place for every house that gets built, well, we haven't got a plan base, we will lose money, we'll lose revenue. We'll only get 15% rather than 25%. So we need to be taken as seriously as developers are. Secondly, the local plan is expected to be signed off in 2027, but it's now planned to be signed off after the next election, which means if there's a new administration come in on a different manifesto, that local plan that's supposed to be signed off in 2027 could end up having to go for a whole new process again. So there's a lot of uncertainties around the local plan anyway. So I don't think we should be waiting the outcome of that. I think any neighbourhood plan we create now can be adjusted and adapted as we go along. The main thrust of the local plan is the housing. The other areas of it, the SPDs and the issues to do with parking standards and all those other things, very few of those are changing that would affect the local plan. So I think there's a lot of stability within the local plan that we can build on.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tate.
The consultant that we're considering asking, is it worth asking that person whether now is a good time?
Well, we're obtaining quotes for a consultant.
Yeah, I don't think we
We're
should
not
be in
talking
any way
to a
considering a
consultant
specific
already.
person at this moment in time. It's a tender process.
Let's go
Well,
ahead.
asking those people.
That's
That's
thank
what
you.
I'm
Yeah,
considering.
yeah.
I was very much going to agree with
Yeah.
Mandy a little bit,
Yeah.
and also agree with Sean this time, but I think we've got to keep the process moving a little bit because it keeps on stalling. So if the first stage is to get some quotes and a bit of advice, and maybe a neighbourhood plan which is going to complement the new local plan, but I just feel that I totally get what you're saying, Cheryl, but then we've been on this for over a
Well, at
decade.
least since, yeah.
And Sean makes a good point about really we're trying to get a basic neighbourhood plan together and get extra still, which would help the Towns Council. So.
Yeah, okay. So the proposal is that we do instruct the clerk to obtain quotes or further investigation of finding a consultant towards a neighbourhood plan. Okay. Yeah.
And asking their view about
Yeah.
the timing of it.
Yeah. As part of the recruitment. Yeah.
I mean, regardless, I don't see a problem with us going out and obtaining quotes.
Yeah.
Because the next step would be then to review the quotes and decide if we want to take it further. So I think that's with Mandy's with respect, I would say ask a consultant whether we should start work with him now or not. I think the consultant's likely to say you definitely need it now. But I get what you're saying.
I wish it wasn't like
what
that.
I would suggest is
Yeah.
perhaps the consultant isn't the best person to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get the point.
Okay. So.
Obviously, with it waiting on the local plan by Burns, it might be done by the 2027 local elections. Are any other town or parishes looking at getting a neighbourhood plan now? Do we know that? And is that something Tara could ask other town or parish clerks?
Well, that's a good idea.
Radstock's just done theirs.
Well,
Radstock
Radstock have just done theirs. Westfield already have one.
Yeah.
Has Cambridge gone through now? Or are they still in progress? I think they're still in progress, aren't they?
Cambridge,
Yeah.
I believe they've got theirs in place now, but I could be wrong. I believe theirs is in place.
Yeah.
I think Radstock's out for consultation, isn't it? It hasn't, whatever the legal term is, it hasn't been approved.
I think it's important to understand that there are two aspects to it. One is having a neighbourhood plan to protect your local estates and have some say over what can and can't be built. And that can be a long-term objective. The short-term objective is the most basic plan possible to bring us in that extra revenue for every house that gets built. And that's where I think we need to target initially. Let's get the income. But if someone builds 1,000 houses, we want the income from that.
Okay, good. Yeah, so the proposal is to instruct the clerk to obtain quotes from a consultant for the plan process. Councillor Mackay is proposing. Councillor Thornton is seconding. All in favour? We're all in favour. Mackay, Thornton and everybody. Item 163, the annual town meeting, to consider a date and venue for the annual town meeting. I haven't got it written down, but I think, did you want to say it, Tara? Yeah. Do you have your hand up? Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to have a chat with Kate about this earlier. I just realised that I'm not sure that I did. So we were looking can't see how it wouldn't be, because we only need the downstairs. And looking at dates that you've had in previous years, we have looked at sort of fallback dates and other locations, and would propose Wednesday, 29th of April.
Sorry, for what location?
For the, well, in the town hall, but I think from what Tara said to me, that other places are available on that date in case it doesn't happen at the town hall. We're looking at Wednesday, 29th of April. That's around the date that we did in previous years. We had it at Welton Rovers last year, maybe the year before, maybe, or certainly last year. Then we had it at the Sober Centre before then. But so it's the same date.
Didn't we have? Are we talking about? I'm just trying to understand which event we're talking about, because we did the Civic Awards.
It's the.
And we did the town. We did it all in one, didn't we?
It's all in one.
Well, if you had the same turnouts as you had at Welton Rovers last year, you won't get them all in that town hall, unless you're going upstairs, perhaps.
Right.
But downstairs, I don't know if it's big enough.
But we could, well, yeah.
Have we got a bigger?
29th, we have a choice: the town hall, Sober Centre, or Welton Rovers. We've checked the Sober Centre, Welton Rovers, and we can put provisional bookings on those. And then it's up to you where you want to hold it. If you're saying the town hall isn't large enough, then
Yeah, I think we can set the date, because we know
confirm
what venues
the
are
date.
available, and then the date, the venue.
I've got a meeting that night.
Have you? We can leave up in the air for now.
Well,
I
last
don't
week.
think we can leave it up.
Okay.
Yeah, really. I think we need to decide on a venue, because we need to get on with publicising the civic awards and getting nominations. We probably need to let people know the venue. I think it's safe to assume the town hall downstairs we can make available, because it is completely separate. The plumbing, etc., will definitely be done by then. It's not really big enough. What's the point?
Welton Rovers has a good car park, and they don't charge you.
Well, I know, but it would be, because wouldn't it be good to have a civic service at awards at our...
It would,
building?
I agree totally, but if it's not available,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, then I would say West Close is the next one.
It's based, exactly what Councillor Hughes has said. With the volume of people we had last year, that was bursting at the seams, and definitely we would not get that in the bottom hall, the town hall.
Okay.
Is that us saying that we don't think the assembly room is going to be finished? Because previously the annual meeting was held in the assembly room, which was a wonderful, big, grand, palatial ballroom.
That's the other option. People would still see the town.
So we are...
So we could use upstairs.
Is that the assembly?
If that's big enough.
Yeah, that is big enough, but we could open,
If you're looking this evening to set a definite date for the event, considering the last event was quite a success.
You also moved it 10 days before the event.
Yeah. If you want to be firm about it, then your only option is to go with the Welton Rovers option, where it happened last year and it worked and it was very successful. There seems to be too many unknowns about whether you can or can't use the town hall, whether you use the upstairs, whether you can use the downstairs. I would suggest this year, if you need to commit to something firm, then your option is Welton Rovers, not the town hall.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor.
Would upstairs be big enough? I obviously don't know the numbers you had last year, but I think there will be criticism from the public if we weren't using the town hall, having spent all that money on it, if we weren't seen to be using it. I understand we don't have the capacity, but if there's room upstairs, then...
Yeah. No, there would, I think there would be capacity upstairs, but it's whether it's going to be ready or not.
Was it you next?
Yes.
Was it? Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there's two bits here, isn't there? And also we seem to be more focusing on the civic awards and things, when actually the annual town meeting is prescribed in statute and has to occur within a specific time frame. And if we're going to put the civic awards on with it, we still have to adhere to when the annual town meeting has to be held. Okay, and so I think we need to actually firm up the date that fits within the statutory guidelines, we can have a debate about where it should be at the next town council meeting, if you like, but the most important thing is we've got to fix the date.
Right, well, that date is the, yeah, right.
Could we not have a marquee on the island in addition, so that you've got speakers going out as well?
Well, yeah, well, we could put.
I don't think we put that in the budget.
I think the upstairs has always been suitable.
That could be enough.
and
Well,
you
if
know,
it's
for
ready, yeah.
council meetings in the past, public meetings in the past. And the downstairs could be the socialising
Yeah.
space that you know, something that is open to people.
But I'm following Sean's point,
Yeah.
which is if upstairs isn't ready,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, we
Take a vote.
as much as we can
Vote
do
on it.
on which venue. Shall we look at the date first?
Take a vote on the
Should we
date.
take the date?
Yeah.
Vote on the date first. We're going to Wednesday, 29th of April for the day. Oh,
I'll propose it.
okay,
Yeah, I'll
propose and
second
second it. All in favour of 29th of April as a date.
That's
So
when
we,
It's the best, good fine.
yeah, okay.
Welton Rovers side, because Welton Rovers would mean a lot less work for officers, which would be very welcome at this time, how much we've got on our plates at the moment. That would take the pressure off of officers having it at Welton Rovers, but I'm conscious that the public would expect us to have it in the town hall.
Could I also just say, really, we ought to be giving plenty of notice to Welton Rovers. They could suddenly have
Yes.
something else come in on that day, and we could be left pretty silly.
Well, I
Or
would,
you can provisionally book, that's
What
what I
I
was
was-
saying.
first of all, if we're looking at a date on a Wednesday, that may very well be a skill night at Welton Rovers until May.
It's available.
It's available.
It is
So
available,
she's looked
okay.
at that and the Solar Centre and the Town Hall are all available on the
Okay.
So we can provisionally book them, you know,
I think-
just in case later on, if the Town Hall doesn't become available in a month's time, so by February.
I think,
no,
knowing where we currently are in terms of staff level
Yeah.
and commitments and things like that, I would suggest that someone like Welton that has a fully functional bar and kitchen, has the crockery, the cutlery, and if necessary, the staff to do it, may be sensible. They have the bar staff, they've even got the catering staff if we want them. So it is a little bit more straightforward than having to try and find a way to get all that catering and bar work and everything into.
Maybe we could turn it on its head the other way and book Welton Rovers. We wouldn't have to provisionally book the Town Hall because nobody else would be wanting to book it. And if it does become available within a few weeks, if we want certainty, then we could move. But start with Welton Rovers, it's worked well in the past. Okay.
And if numbers are an issue, should we be considering splitting and having the annual town meeting and the civic awards on different times?
You won't get most people to the annual meeting if you don't.
Well, then
do
perhaps
civic
they can have
awards
it
at
in the
same
town hall
time.
then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. But I think so.
Yeah,
So do you want to vote on that? Welton Rovers is the first choice, but if the Town Hall, if everything, the wind's blowing in the right direction and everything gets finished and all the equipment and everything is there that we need, we could transfer to the Town Hall.
I think it's important to try and make use of the town hall.
Definitely.
I mean, really, and also not 100% sure, but should we be asking other venues rather than going to the Welton Rovers again? I mean, it was a good venue, don't get me wrong, but there is also the cricket club and the rugby club are available to hire. The Centurion has suites and other rooms, or is it? So we don't have to go and ask for quotes, do we? As a council,
I didn't suggest a cricket club only because they're so small.
it's a little bit small actually, because they do the big ones in marquees, don't they? Yeah. It's probably fine if it's the only suitable venue. It's probably not a problem.
So I think there seems to be agreement that it comes to vote on it.
Go for it.
Does that sound all right, Tara? Yeah. Okay, good. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Item 164 is the date of the next meeting. The next meeting is Monday, 2nd of March. Back in the year. And then item 165 is exclusion of the press and public. Councillor Scott is
Sorry,
proposing.
Dave.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you today. I'll see you
Cheers.
tomorrow.
So second in the motion.